the headlines, President Buhari presides over a National Security Council meeting. NSCDC nabbed 4 suspects with adulterated petroleum products in Anambra. Lai Muhammad says Nigeria cannot be like Afghanistan. And on the foreign scene, 47 people killed in Burkina Faso jihadist attack. Hello and welcome to Trust News Updates. I am Dashan Hussaina Usman. For more news, connect with us on our social media platforms. Now the news in full. President Muhammadu Buhari is currently presiding over a crucial security meeting with all the nation's security chiefs and cabinet ministers in attendance. The meeting was summoned to analyze the prevailing challenges of security in the country with a view to the best way forward. The meeting may also investigate security implications of the reported mass surrender of Boko Haram insurgents and members of their families in the northeast. In attendance at the meeting are Vice President Yemi Oshibajo, Chief of Staff to the President, Secretary to Government of the Federation, Ministers of Defense, Justice, Interior, Police, and Foreign Affairs, as well as the National Security Advisor. Others are the service chiefs led by the Chief of Defense Staff, Inspector General of Police, Directors General, Department of State Services, and National Intelligence Agency, Chief of Defense Intelligence, and other relevant stakeholders. As President Buhari meets with service chiefs for a security meeting, internally displaced persons in Maiduguri have called the government to adopt peace, truce, and dialogue with surrendered and repentant Boko Haram members. The recent surrender of over 1,000 insurgents in Monguno and Bama local governments has sparked reactions in some quarters. The campaign of Boko Haram began 12 years ago, and unending attacks has claimed thousands of lives and displaced many in the northeast. Lately, the counter-offensive with the military has forced some Boko Haram members to surrender in Borno State. Maryam Mustafa is an internally displaced person in Madinatu camp. The mother of 4 lost 2 of her siblings during an invasion by insurgents in Mafa local government. She escaped from death to seek shelter in Maiduguri. For her, the news of the newly surrendered Boko Haram members is a welcome idea as long as their integration into society will not breach peace. She urges the government to back its surrender claims with peace, truce, and dialogue.
Duk dai amsan da ya bari shi ne mana ba za mu bi abin da ya fita ko me dai abin da ya faɗa shi ba za mu wuce gaban shi. Shawaran da ina in dai zan ba su in dai abin yayi kam ko in za a bar su su shiga in za mu samu zaman lafiya kan shi ke mu zaman lafiya ne mutane.
The Boko Haram federal government and state government and local government accepting them is very, very good idea. The only thing state government and local government to focus on federal government for unadvised, if they want the country to move forward, definitely check their environment where the Boko Haram are going to stay, number 1. Give them full security because it's the people long period of time ago, they are not inside the people. There are people that they can go to one side and plan another thing because we are new global internet. They can plan their thing against through internet. They can plan their thing, their meeting through handset. Not be like before they can gather inside bush, do their meeting somewhere, go and attack.
As the president meets with service chiefs on Thursday, Maryam and other internally displaced persons will only hope that peace will be a reason for them to return to their communities and rebuild their lives. The anti-vandalism team of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has arrested 4 suspects with adulterated petroleum products in Anambra. Vincent Ogu, the state commandant of NSCDC, made this known to newsmen on Thursday in Awka. Ogu said the 4 suspects were picked up following credible intelligence from different locations between July 26th and August 5th. Ogu warned those involved in the illegal business to desist from it as their act is bleeding Nigeria's economy. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says Nigeria is not a failed state and cannot go the way of Afghanistan, where a terrorist group has taken the reign of power. The minister stated this in Washington, D.C. during his engagements with international media organizations including the BBC Radio and Television, Bloomberg, and Politico. The minister is in the U.S. to meet with internal media organizations to highlight the achievements of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration and efforts made so far in tackling insurgency, banditry, and all forms of criminality. Osun State Government has ordered investigations into the circumstances that led to the death of 7 family members on Tuesday in Akpomu Community, Isokan local government area of the state. While sympathizing with the community on the incident, the state said it had ordered an autopsy be carried out on corpses of the deceased who were reportedly found dead in their house. In a statement by the Commissioner for Health, Rafiu Isamotu, the state reiterated its commitment to security and welfare of its citizens, stressing that it would go the whole hog to unravel the circumstances that led to the mysterious death. Following the killing of 25 persons along Rukoba Road in Jos North local government area of Plateau State on Saturday morning, the Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong reacted to the crisis, warning perpetrators to desist as the government will not allow any form of lawlessness to disrupt the peace of the state. The governor also imposed a curfew as response on Jos North, Bassa, and Jos South local government areas. Daily Trust correspondent Dixon Adama tells us more.
The crisis on the plateau has been ravaging so many people, and so many areas have suffered great loss in terms of property and human lives have gone. Right now, the situation on ground is that curfew has been imposed on 3 local government areas, which is Jos North, Jos South, and Bassa local government. Jos North local government curfew and Jos South local government curfew, Bassa local government curfew have different timing. For Jos North, it's 24 hours curfew, but for Jos South and Bassa, it is 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. That's from dusk to dawn. However, in spite of the curfew, so skirmishes are still being experienced in several communities. For instance, on Monday, when the curfew was already enacted, there were killings along Congo, Russia, and so many other communities. Last night, somewhere around Adinkowa, there were gunshots and all of that, because fracas was supposed to break out, but security people rushed there and the thing was under control. So many people within that area said they didn't sleep throughout the night. But the government is saying that they have lifted the curfew. However, because of the security reports and other tension that is still high, they say the curfew will continue for now, so that now should be calm.
Meanwhile, the curfew in Jos North has been lifted. The new Commissioner of Police in Kaduna, Mudassiru Abdullahi, has called for peaceful coexistence among various communities in the state. This is contained in a statement issued by the Public Relations Officer, ASP Muhammad Jalige, on Thursday in Kaduna. Abdullahi made the call when he visited Zangon Kataf, Kagoro, and Jama'a local government areas. The commissioner said peace remains very paramount in every society if there will be any meaningful development. He also assured the chiefdoms of deployment of more security personnel in order to curb the recent upsurge in communal disputes within the areas and villages. The commissioner further warned all those disturbing the communities to desist from taking laws into their hands because there are constituted authorities responsible for handling their grievances. The just concluded two-day National Conference on Transportation Infrastructure Development in Nigeria, organized by the Nigerian Institute of Transport and Federal Ministry of Transportation, had in attendance a lot of key players in the sector. The conference is aimed at upgrading and suggesting sustainable funding for transport infrastructural development in collaboration with the private sector. TrustTV's Aisha Salihu has more.
The transportation sector is an important component of the economy and a common tool used for development of every other sector. Experts are now bothered that the sector contributes less than 5% to Nigeria's gross domestic product. This two-day national conference is premised on sustainable funding for transport development in Nigeria towards finding alternative options to grow the sector.
Given the current economic realities, where the government sources of funding are being threatened by unstable oil revenues and the myriad of other challenges, there is need to address the nation's problems of funding transport infrastructure development head-on. In a recent report, the World Bank had observed that Nigeria requires about $14.2 billion annually to fund its infrastructure deficit.
The Minister of Finance and Minister of State for Transportation, speaking at the conference, says government's innovation through private sector financing is yielding results, but focus should be on creating more opportunities for investors, while also highlighting the achievements so far.
Interventions by the Federal Ministry of Transportation include massive construction of roads, rail lines with access roads, inland water ports, seaports, new terminals in existing ports, dry ports with access to roads and rail, the inland container depot and freight, all geared towards building a modern and efficient transportation system that guarantees sustainable socio-economic development of Nigeria.
The transport infrastructure financing allows us to deepen our domestic capital market through the issuance of medium to long-term debt instruments, which allow citizens and institutional investors to take a stake in the future growth of our economy. The issuance of Eurobonds targeted at infrastructure spending allows us to raise foreign exchange at the international capital market determined rates, but also registers Nigeria as a viable investment destination for foreign investors. We have seen businesses selecting industrial corridors to invest in, and they recover their investments through tax credits. In January 2021, Mr. President signed the Executive Order number 007 that we call the Road Infrastructure Tax Credit Scheme. This Executive Order was signed with the first batch of 19 roads, totaling about 794 kilometers, with 7 investors uptaking to build those roads with their resources.
Director General of Debt Management Office addressed the prospects of the China Belt Road Initiative towards Nigeria's transport infrastructural development.
So with China, they are very supportive of infrastructure financing. All we need to do is identify the projects. We identify the projects ourselves. The costing is also us. Once they are approved and contracts are awarded, we then begin to arrange for financing.
A concrete resolution at the meeting shows that a shift on reliance of public financing to private funding through a beneficial policy would better address transportation deficit. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break, FCT drivers decry harassment and extortion. Do stay with us.
My name is Samuel Dada. Yakubu Isa, ana mana ɗabi da jeji. Aminu Musa. A wannan harkar ce muke dan samun abinci, an muke taimaka mu wasu da yawa. Looking for private jobs. Sometimes you get employed and the process of payment, you undergo some kind of stress.
Get latest updates on current topical issues and breaking news by downloading the TrustTV mobile app on your Android devices. Go online, click Google Play Store, search TrustTV, install the app, and get doses of unfiltered information on happenings all over the world in your pocket. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Thanks for staying. You're still watching Trust News Update. Let's take a look at some of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari is currently presiding over a crucial security meeting with all the nation's security chiefs and cabinet ministers in attendance. And the anti-vandalism team of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has arrested 4 suspects with adulterated petroleum products in Anambra. And now to more news. Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje says he has not instated anyone for political office come 2023, contrary to media reports. Speaking exclusively to Trust TV, Governor Ganduje says time will come when situations reveals his successor. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports.
Ahead of the 2023 general elections, posters of candidates with various aspirations are already becoming a common sight in the politically sensitive Kano state. While taking advantage of this, both social and some mainstream news organizations are reporting what the governor called fake news.
To read on newspapers is not true. It was a mischief, and people of Kano know that we have not anointed anybody to be as a gubernatorial candidate or senatorial candidate or any position or any elected position.
For the governor, what is more important at the moment is to further ensure meaningful and sustainable development, maintain the existing peace and unity, as well as to ensure justice and equality before the law.
We are more concerned in governance up to the time when INEC will come up with a timetable for election. But in democracy, you can always have that kind of things to happen, especially with fake news, with misjudgment because of mischief and certain things like that. So I assure you, we are all intact. All those who would like to contest for election, as far as we are concerned, they are all good politicians of the party.
On the issue of the national leadership of the APC, Governor Ganduje argued that his party is not in crisis and that the current leadership is only a normal temporary structure before the party's national congress.
You see, it's a temporary leadership, as the name suggests, so they are not there to stay for long. It's a matter of a few months that they will remain, and if our lawyers find it convenient, according to the constitution of our party and according to the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, if we find that whatever we have done, we can redo it again.
Meanwhile, Governor Ganduje called on politicians to play their game with sanity and in accordance with the law, which will in effect lead to a desired success. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
E-hailing drivers in the Federal Capital Territory have decried the alleged harassment and extortion by street touts and sometimes members of the National Union of Road Transport Workers. According to one of the drivers, The lack of synergy between the e-hailing drivers and members of regulatory bodies is affecting the flow of business. Chijoke Okafo tells us the story.
Uber and Bolt started operations in Nigeria in 2014 and 2016 respectively. As of 2018, Uber had about 9,000 drivers on its app in the country, while Bolt had about 10,000 drivers. Uber charges drivers a commission of 25%, while Bolt charges 20%. In general, there are about 20 players in the e-hailing business in Nigeria. But of recent, the e-hailing drivers community have made claims that their members are being targeted by regulatory bodies and many of their drivers' cars are being impounded. We meet up with Abba Adiko, a Bolt driver, and he shares his experience with us.
These people, they will not, even if you are picking from the road, if you are picking the front body gate, they will still come and harass you. If you have somebody, okay, for instance, somebody travel all the way from Benue to Makurdi Makurdi to Abuja, for instance, and stop by Benue Links Park, and then the person requested you to come and pick him. By the time you try to pull over there, those guys will jump into your car. You say, I'm not picking anybody from road, I'm going to the park. They will see, even last week, as I'm telling you, I have a friend that they harassed over 5 hours. I have to call a friend who is the police officer. That one too was not around, you have to call another person. And then the person go there to intervene and all that. This thing happen every day. When I register officially with Uber, and with Bolt, and every trip that I make every day, every second, both take 20% of that amount, and we are made to understand that it's a certain percentage that both remits to federal government and by application to AMAC and people that is in charge of transportation in Abuja. So by implication, we are paying our tax as supposed to be paid because we are not employed by both, but we are rather partner. Both provide us a platform where we can bring our car and then they inspect it and then they certify it and then you can drive for both.
All efforts to reach the regulatory bodies, including AMAC and NURTW, proved abortive, as they all declined commenting on the issue on camera. In 2020, revenues generated in Africa's e-hailing industry were estimated to have reached $2.5 billion, with Nigeria accounting for around $292 million of this revenue and 15% of the continent's 48.6 million e-hailing users. This is a large market with enormous revenue to the purse of the federal government annually, and all they are clamoring for is an avenue to conduct their business legally without interference, harassment, or extortion. Chijoke Okafo, TrustTV News, Abuja.
The Petroleum Industry Act will change the dynamics of oil business in Nigeria. Industry watchers believe that implementation of the new act will bring an end to decades of uncertainty and underinvestment in the petroleum industry. Trust TV's Nafisa Abdul Al, however, reports that ordinary people express divergent views on the new law.
The long-awaited Petroleum Industry Act, which seeks to reform the petroleum industry in Nigeria and help the country attract investments across the oil and gas value chain, comes with a lot of agitation and uncertainty. President Muhammadu Buhari, after signing the bill on August 16, 2021, has already approved a committee to commence the implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act. An economist, Dr. Tefa Abraham, agrees with the timing of the implementation, saying it is a welcome development but still has his reservations.
In this current period, space and time, where Nigeria has serious challenge of revenue to fund our budget, where borrowing is skyrocketing, where deficit size of our budget is also expanding, this passage of the bill is very, very timely, because hopefully in the medium to long term, it will open the petroleum industry and expand its capacity to attract more revenue to the country.
He further clarifies reports going around about more Nigerians becoming unemployed and hiking fuel price due to the implementation.
The federal government through the Minister of Petroleum, still has that power to determine what happens with the price of petroleum product in Nigeria. Not the price of crude oil in the international market, the pump price of fuel in Nigeria. And the government this week has said that it will still remain 162. So any other speculation that is likely to increase, we have to hold on to hear what the government is saying.
Some Nigerians also share their opinions as regards to the Petroleum Industry Act and its effects.
What is happening is that we are not building a nation, but what we are building is tribalism, nepotism, religion that cut across the nation called Nigeria. If we have a nation, what happened in that PIA would have not been. Look at what is happening in Afghanistan today. It is because of injustice, tribalism, and corruption and nepotism. And that is exactly, we are praying that it will not happen here.
Well, to me it's good. It's wonderful because it has earned 13 years tussle and struggle over passage of the bill. And it has earned it to enhance revolution and to enhance stability, accountability, transparency in our oil industry.
It is reported that Nigeria has lost an estimated $50 billion worth of investments in 10 years due to stagnation and uncertainty in the petroleum industry. While the act can be seen as another feather in the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration cap, there is no certainty if the act has come to stay or yield any results. Nafisa Abdul-Al, TrustTV News, Abuja.
And on the foreign scene, the death toll from the weekend's magnitude 7.2 earthquake in southwestern Haiti has risen to at least 2,189 people, with 12,268 injured, according to the latest official data released. The figure increased by 248 fatalities from the previous day, with 332 people still missing, according to the Civil Protection General Directorate. The number of homes destroyed totals 52,953, while another 77,006 have suffered damage of varying degrees. The most affected locality in the town of Marigot, where 500 of the 615 homes in the municipality have collapsed. Authorities estimate that some 650,000 people need urgent humanitarian aid, which represents about 40% of the population of the 3 departments most affected by the earthquake in the southwestern peninsula of the country. Finally, on the international scene, Taliban leader Hibatullah Akhundzada has ordered the unconditional release of political detainees from all Afghan prisons. Qari Yusuf Ahmadi, spokesman of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, on Thursday said the political prisoners will reunite with their families on Friday. The Taliban entered the Afghan capital on August 15, ending weeks-long offensive and resulting in the collapse of the US-backed government. And on the sports scene, Super Eagles star Simi Nwankwo will join newly promoted Serie A side Salernitana from Crotone on an initial loan deal with an obligation to buy for £6 million. According to Sky Italia per Football Italia, the deal is all but sealed after Simi had his medicals on Monday. The Nigerian star is expected to earn £1 million a year and a sign-on fee. Crotone will also get 10% of future sales. The 29-year-old has been a target for the Garnets all summer as they prepare for life in Italy's top flight for the first time in 23 years. The Super Eagles star achieved this incredible feat in a Crotone team with just 5 Serie A wins all season. And that brings us to the end of today's news update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Dashan Husseina Usman. Thanks for watching.